SecondAct Podcast, a place where people come and tell their stories, a place for us to dive deep and look at the world from someone else's perspective, a place to share, learn, confess, express, and take away. This is a special one-year edition, and today we are interviewing none other than Archana Dutta herself. A little bit about the woman. Archana, the person I know, is an entrepreneur, a speaker, mother of 2 super talented kids, a large-hearted soul, a believer of good deeds, and a curator of experiences. Hey, but that's just me speaking. I think we need to know her story from herself. So Archana, welcome to your own podcast.
Wow. That's all I can say right now.
I can see the excitement, and now you also know how it feels to be on the other side.
Oh my goodness, is it difficult? I mean, I'm getting butterflies in my stomach. I don't know how to react, and it's super difficult. But be easy on me, okay?
I'll try, I'll see.
Okay.
It depends on how you were with me. So a lot of you who do not know, she started the podcast exactly a year back on Valentine's Day, and I happened to be her first guest. By the way, I don't know why you reached out to me even now. Like
The love of my life. I mean, come on. I mean, it's Valentine.
It is Valentine's. And मुझे नहीं पता इन्होंने मेरे को क्यों reach out करा था, but what I do know is that I found this fantastic human being in my life who now partners with me in a lot of conversations and work that we do together. And when we were discussing कि भाई 1 साल edition है, special edition है, क्या करना है? I told her that, look, we've heard a lot of good stories, almost 50 plus stories of very, very senior leaders in the industry. But I think we now need to know your story, and hence the special edition with Archana herself on her own podcast. So welcome again, Archana.
Thank you so much, and I want to just tell you, Sarika, my story, I hope that is as exciting as other people. But since you've made me a celebrity today, I will enjoy the space.
You don't worry, I'll add some spice to your story while you're conversing.
Don't open my secrets, because you know too much now.
I know too much. No, I did give her a promise while we were talking about this yesterday that मैं उस एरिया में नहीं जाऊंगी जो बिल्कुल अलाउड नहीं है पब्लिक फोरम में. For that you guys will have to write to her personally. So Archana, I know I've known you for the last 1 year now, and I know the last 1 year's journey. But I think where we want to start today is the story before that 1 year. So who was Archana prior to that? What is your story? What made you start the podcast in the first place?
So exciting. I mean, I had beautiful 26 years of my corporate life. बहुत अच्छा चल रहा था सब और बहुत ही exciting था. And in a natural, organic way, the way we escalate and, reach a certain position, try to handle a lot of things together, trying to be the perfect mother, the perfect wife, the perfect employee, everything was just fine. And I don't know, I mean, your question when it says, ye kaise hua, and what was, in the last 1 year, why I started what I started, it's something that I'm also discovering even today, that why things happen. I mean, these questions are coming to me quite often to say, did you get an indication? And the answer is no. Did you get like a sudden burst of something? And the answer is no. But something was happening behind, which probably was happening behind for years.
Right.
And when is the right time?
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't even get to know.
You don't know, yes.
So podcast is just one of the things, of course, and that was very impulsive. In fact, coming to your question why I picked on you, your voice is so beautiful. And of course, on Valentine, when I was just going through some of your series that you have done on cover to cover, I said, my goodness, if this beautiful woman with this beautiful voice comes on my first podcast, my God, I mean, I'll become a celebrity with her. So, that's how the journey started. And thank you, in fact.
No, thank you. I'm privileged. So, ये तो कोई change नहीं कर सकता. Forever, I'll be her first guest on her podcast. And you know that आज से 5-7 साल बाद जब आप TED में अपनी talk देने जाएंगे, I want you to mention me, okay? Just letting everybody know here.
I think we'll change the way the TED is done. Maybe 2 people can come on the platform. Like we're doing so many things together. I think TED will be a platform we can create a storytelling, post-storytelling together.
Why not?
It'll be beautiful.
I'm into that. But today is, your state. So going back to what you were saying. So you said 26 years of being in the corporate, being a good mother, wife, employee, etc., etc. तब तब क्या हुआ? मतलब, did you even know that you will do something different one day? Did you even think that, I want to break away? Did you have this, what is my calling moment ever?
So actually, I feel that, when you have everything in life and, you have everything very stable in life, still something is nudging you. Something is telling you, hey, you're not fulfilled yet.
Yeah.
You're not complete yet. And I think this started when I actually started a little bit of my spiritual journey, and I started to do yoga, meditation, and that's when I started to feel, okay, I'm probably not doing enough as a give back. There is something which is I'm just doing as a flow of things, like, everything came to me, I adapted very well, and I was like, okay, this suits me, this lifestyle is great, I have everything comfortable, but what am I doing as a person, as Archana? Where is Archana? I was playing different roles and very beautifully, but then something was not complete. I was like, okay, I don't even know what I wanted to do, to be honest. Just that I just knew that there is a second phase of my life which must start. So that when I go up, at least I show my face to God to say, hey, I, did something worthwhile.
How nice. And also you did it at a moment that you were in the corporate life you were doing extremely well. It's not as if you were not doing well. You were growing, you were with fantastic brands, a great set of people. So I know that from an outside world, when you look at that life, like you said, when you have everything, you don't really question and say,
Absolutely.
So for you to do it at that time, I think it was extremely brave. I also know the challenges that you went through during that time, and to now see you do such fantastic work, I think it's really, really brilliant. Whether it is the work in the social space with pink toilets that you're doing, or the workshops, or the experiences that you're curating, I think you broke away at a very good time. I think it was extremely brave, and the best part is when I look at you working, there is just so much contentment. So congratulations on that, and I hope you grow from place to place.
I can only tell you, Sarika, that entrepreneurs like you, who I think had a similar stint, I would say, in the corporate world, were pretty comfortable. You also break away, and you broke away and did something. So 2020, yes, when I decided, I actually didn't know that things will stall. When I decided to leave, I didn't know that I will go through a very bad spiral myself. It's not been an easy phase. It's still not an easy phase, but every day the amount of satisfaction that I get from the work that I do.
Yeah.
Sometimes money is a consequence and it will happen. I think we just need to believe in the process. It's not been an easy life. Whoever is listening, I want to tell you that solo entrepreneurship or solopreneurship is not an easy game. There is a lot of learning, unlearning, going down, feeling lost, and then you get a partner like you, my dear friend, and then you start feeling, oh my God, things are looking up. And I just feel that if you get the right person in your life, things change. And thank you for being that person for me.
So going back to the spiral that you spoke about, Archana, what's that one learning that you had? I know it was a spiral, I know it was a tough phase, but एक learning रही होती है ना, हर चीज़ की एक learning होती है. What was that for you?
Actually, एक learning नहीं है, Sarika. There's so many learnings which came out in this 1.5 years. But what has really, what I remind myself every day is that believe in yourself.
Oh, nice.
And I think that is one thing that I have learned. And when you come out and you start feeling that will I be even able to do anything or not? I don't even know what my capabilities are, because when you're working in a certain atmosphere, you're working with a process-driven company, everything is given to you.
True.
You're behaving in a format which is like you're supposed to behave in. And when you're out, suddenly you get this freedom. Yeah. You get this freedom of choice. You get this freedom of exploring yourself. And there are so many things that, you have to unlearn first. Yeah. Because, all your life you've just learned it in a certain way.
Yeah.
So I think you stop believing in yourself to say, do I even know this? So right. I think over time, over 1.5 years, I've learned to believe in myself, my abilities, trying to just pep myself up every day. I think that's something that, has stood by me.
Very nice. So tell me, you've now interviewed more than 50 people. You've got a peep into their very personal lives, professional lives, their struggles and all of that. How has this journey been? What have been the learnings from the last 1 year from people, not necessarily, your own life?
That's a very beautiful question, because when I started Second Act Podcast, for me, Second Act was always about having a discovery which probably you never felt before. It was something that you experienced in a new way, or in a fresh perspective. But so many people answered, what is your second act, in so many different ways. So I said, okay, I can't be restrictive to this word. This word spelled power to me. It's for somebody who told me, in one of the podcasts, said that second act spells hope.
How nice.
So there were so many things that came out. Every conversation which came out was so different and so beautiful, and so many new perspectives. So I was like, wow, what a beautiful thing which is getting created, because it was not so one. I remember somebody said that you're talking about second act or like a higher purpose, but why must I restrict myself with one higher purpose? My purpose changes every time I am able to do one thing.
Grow more.
And then, there is another purpose standing in front of me. So I said, yeah, that's beautiful. And somebody like my husband, who was also on the podcast, he said, I don't have a second act because my first act serves like a second act, or that's my first act. And, through my first act and this thing of helping people grow in my organization, their second acts come out.
So nice.
So that's what I believe in. So so many varied learnings, so many different people. I think this platform is so amazing, Sarika, that and I have to again tell you that thank you for being the pioneer.
Thank you. So we'll keep going back to her. She tends to bring the focus off her, and we have to put the focus back on her. But like you were saying, Archana, that people may not just restrict themselves to their second act. It could be their third, fourth, fifth, or even the first act, triggering someone else's second act almost,
seriously.
right? So finally, it's about finding meaning in whatever you do. Sometimes you kind of, the journey kind of takes a new turn and you call that the second act. But sometimes it's a continuous journey that, continues.
Yeah.
But during this journey, what were the values that kind of really supported you? What were those values when you were down and out and not knowing where to go, what to do? वो कौन सी ऐसी चीजें थी जिनको लगा कि ना, while they are with me, I'll continue, nothing is going to fall apart.
There was a time, Sarika, that nothing was making sense. I knew that I've started a few things, but I was not able to lift myself up. I was very broken from inside. And then and during quarantine, and the long period of when we were sitting at home together as a family for the first time, my kids were looking at me. They've never seen me like this. And they were always like, I've never seen you, mom, like this. What's wrong with you? And then the thing about what really stayed with me was that I need to get up. I need to be that person which I always was. And I just need to just pump in that energy back into me. So I think something like, pumping myself back, putting myself up there, and just like I said, believing in my own abilities, I think that was something that has really stood by me. And today, if somebody tries to even shake me, I think I've become very aware as a person. I have become, when at the point that when I'm going down, I just know that isse niche nahi.
Right.
I know that isse niche, then I will not be able to hold myself. So I quickly put myself back and say there are so many better things. Gratitude is something that you can't take away.
Yeah.
I mean, there is so much going on in the world, and I think gratitude has really helped me close to say, oh my goodness, am I fortunate? Really.
So in the personal work that we do together, I know that you speak about awareness very often,
Yes.
As a subject you want to talk about it. In our workshops, you want to talk about it. Every time we are trying to curate something, we're trying to, put a plan together for future. It is something, it's a subject you always bring in, and you say, acha iske around kuch karte hain, why don't you talk about awareness? So do you want to touch upon that and tell me how maybe in the previous life it was not as much, but increasingly when I speak to you, I think as a person also you're extremely aware of your emotions or what's pulling you down, of just like you said that I'm almost aware of how I'm going down and I bring myself up. So what do you, I mean, how do you do that? मेरे को तो लगता है मैं कभी aware होती ही नहीं हूँ. It comes to me much later. So how does it even happen?
I think it is a lot of work, but at the same time, once you start putting that focus on few things, or I can say like you start becoming aware of things around you,
Yeah.
I think things start unfolding. So I'll give you an example. Like like before this life, if somebody would ask me how you're feeling, every time the answer would be, I'm pretty okay. Like we always say,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking,
Yeah.
whatever. But in the last 1.5 years of the work that we have done, this question is so powerful. How are you feeling? And that feeling is not superficial anymore. It is going deep down to actually ask myself, hey, how am I feeling every day? So I started to write every morning, how am I feeling today? And that would answer so many different kinds of things that, that I was actually feeling emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually. So many dimensions I started experiencing by that one question.
Right.
And how underestimated question that is in our life. We say, hello, how are you? And everybody is like, yeah, I'm fine. But it's not about just being fine. Are we really fine as people? So I started to pay attention to things like, if I'm not feeling well physically, what part of me is getting impacted? So I think just putting focus on that one thing every morning, and I said, what can I do to feel better? I think that became my tool.
How nice.
That became my tool to be better, to feel better about things, and try working upon it, So I could identify, okay, today I'm feeling emotionally dented. Today I'm feeling spiritually not up there. So many things started saying, okay, today is your day to just focus on that one. So
How nice.
So I think this awareness is such a powerful tool that we have.
It is, and what I'm also hearing is that it's not a one-day event. It's like you're saying that you almost journal every day, and and that's what brings the awareness to the fore. And finally you say, oh, by the way, this is the part of me which is not working right.
Yeah,
Very interesting.
I think to people who are hearing us and seeing us today, self-awareness is that one tool of starting to change. And that change can bring in so many dimensions of us. And I think from that dimension brings a better version of ourselves. So I think that you must experience a little bit about you every day, which is a new you.
Fantastic.
Honestly.
Fantastic. It's almost like we are on autopilot and we don't know where we're going.
Yes.
And suddenly you bring the focus back
Yes.
on. So, in your second act journey, Archana, I know you do the podcast, I know you do workshops, and I also know that you do curated experiences. Do you want to touch upon all three and tell us what you do in each vertical?
Yes, I'm so excited. So, the three verticals that you spoke about, the first one, of course, was when I started my journey, I said, what am I going to bring? And the first thing that I thought was that I'm coming from a corporate world, and we do lots of corporate workshops.
Right.
But those are management workshops. Those are management workshops from the perspective of time management, leadership roles, what I can do better with, how to do process-driven work, so many things. Everything's again formatted. Everything is like, a training, a module. And I said, what was I missing out in my corporate life? And I think that was just, again, bringing in this awareness.
Right.
That as a boss, why am I reacting sometimes? As a colleague, why am I not inclusive? As a co-worker, why am I not able to open my heart out? What stops me? So I think that is something that I said that I must give back, in form of like these curated workshops that we are doing on ground. Of course, we started with doing some retreats. The first one was called I Celebrate Myself for Women, because I think that is something that I really believe that women do not celebrate themselves.
Yes.
And I think we must really bring that awareness into us, that we need the kind of roles we play, the kind of work we bring, the kind of determination, the kind of people we are. I think there's nothing less than a celebration. And I think that was something that I really wanted to build upon. And of course, from there started my journey to do workshops only for men, which was called Lead From Your Core, which was on empathetic leadership. I think men need a lot of work on that one, don't you think?
Yes, completely.
Yeah, and then from there, my daughter one day said, and what about the other people? So I said, other people like who? So she says, Mom, there is a man and a woman, and there are a lot of other people out there. So I said, oh yeah. And that's when my journey of understanding LGBTQ came, special ability people came. So I said, yeah, but there are so many other kinds of people we don't even know about, to be honest, who are not given that kind of platform, who are not given that kind of respect. And that's when I curated this workshop called Dare to Wear Your Pink Boots. It's a beautiful curated workshop where the speakers from the D&I industry came. There are a lot of inclusive people came. There are a lot of people from the LGBTQ community who came forward and spoke about their experiences. I think nothing better than being an all-inclusive platform where anybody and everybody is represented.
Fantastic.
So I think that is something that I started off, and then of course along the way the podcast came, because that was, I thought, that unmatchable learning experience. If I can bring in your learnings into my platform, I mean, what better, you know? And that was something from the podcast. And then you came along, my dear friend, and we started Coffee Bean Retreats.
Yes.
And I think I want to ask you now.
It's not my interview, Archana, it's yours.
No, I can't just help it. But tell me about Coffee Bean Retreats, Sarika.
Yeah, so I think how I came into your life was, of course, you know, the first podcast that we did together. But when I saw you doing I Celebrate Myself, I thought, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to do something in the space of helping women. I had already started coaching and all of that, and I thought, here is a person who I can partner with and do something beautiful together. And our first retreat went so beautifully. You saw what happened there. I think we created magic there. So that's and also I realized that to have a good partner for something nice that you want to do is so important. And when we met and, you know, the energies met, I've not looked back after that. So with the coffee beans, what we are trying to create are beautiful, meaningful, safe spaces for women. We are hoping that we will be able to take it pan-India, outside of India, and we will be able to take as many women as possible, right?
Absolutely.
And just let women unburden. I think that's the one thing I plan to do with that, at least.
I think there is a lot of work, of course, for women, but I will partner with you also for men workshop place, because
yes, we've been having this debate for a fairly long time, by the way. I've been saying that, look, we'll curate our retreats for women, but Archana has been really pushing me to also do it only for men, not necessarily together, but, you know, like she mentioned some time back, that men need to be sensitized as much as women. I think it's a fair point. I haven't relented yet, but I'm sure we will be, you know, coming up with something sooner than later.
But men who are hearing us, please tell me, don't you feel that you guys just don't get a chance to unburden? Because you take so many responsibilities. You're always challenging your own abilities. I feel, you know, staying with a son and a husband who are always like, you know, talking about, okay, what's my next goal? What's my next step? Okay, what's my next responsibility? I really think you guys need to just, you know, pull yourself back. Just unburden as well. You know, maybe then you can be better people at home, I think.
Okay, and also you've just started something for the youth, right? So there are conversations with the youth, about the youth, everything that the youth is going through, that you've just very recently started. You want to touch upon that?
So I want to tell you about two more initiatives. Of course, one is the groundwork that we do at SecondAct on the women empowerment space and sanitation sector. We groom them, we train them, and we are trying to make them self-sustainable for tomorrow. So we do workshops on leadership with them, we do workshops on communication, on grooming, health, hygiene, sanitation. So many kinds of things that probably can make them more confident as people. You know, that the kind of work that they're doing sometimes, you know, especially in the sanitation space, they feel one less, you know, for the kind of work that they're bringing. But we want to tell them what a favor they're doing to the world.
Absolutely.
You know, and they are the women of tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so that's the most beautiful part of this work. We do a lot of work for girl child.
Yeah.
That's my favorite topic. And such beautiful little girls out there. And what talent they have. You know, the more that I'm working on ground with them, I can tell you they are just full of aspiration. They just want to grow. They are, you know, they just want a platform. Somebody can hold their hand and just, you know, tell them the way. So there's so much out there that you can do with these. So I think that is something that I really, do from my heart. Like my soul project is something that to see little girls empowered and women empowered.
Yeah.
And then the platform for youth came in when my kids, actually, I learn a lot from my own kids, and they started to say that what are you curating for the youth of today? What are you doing for the concerns that we have, and especially when they talk about mental well-being, they talk about topics which also go over my head. So my son is curating a workshop on NFT and crypto, something that I really want to learn, but I just, anytime that he starts speaking about it, I say, what is that? It's so alien, right? But I'm sure every youth is, super talented today.
Absolutely.
And at the same time, they have, so I call them the generation of plenty, because they have so much to choose from. So they're so all over. And I just feel that stories again from youth, coming from the youth, are super powerful. And this platform is trying to, again, just impact somebody's life in a way that they can see their second act.
Yeah, and I think, like you just mentioned, that it's not just about them. I think I'm learning so much from those
all the time
conversations. So the moment you sent me the flyer and the invite for that, I said, okay, this is a world I don't know and I want to know about it. Whether I'll jump into it, whether I'll invest in crypto or no, I don't know. But I want to be aware. So, it's great that you're opening that entire world to also people like me, by the way.
Yeah,
it works exactly the same, right?
I also hear weddings happening in the NFT world. People are taking NFT vows.
Really? Oh, wow.
I mean, this is something.
How does that even work?
I don't even know. So, if you're
what about the emotions? Are you going to like?
I think the younger generation can tell us.
I'm sure.
What's going on?
I'm sure. I already feel very old, Archana. So tell me, where do you see? Where do you want to take the second act? What next?
So I think this year is going to be more about what I don't want to do.
Oh, that's very
rather than what I want to do, because there are 5 or 6 laterals that I'm working on parallelly. And I really wanted to experience every lateral to see where it's going and, where is my calling,
right?
So I think this year is definitely filtering out a few things which are not serving the purpose probably at this time. And I really want to grow on those things which are giving me soul satisfaction with some money, by the way. Definitely.
I'm piggybacking on that.
So Coffee Bean Retreats is top of the line,
Yes.
because I think that is something we really thought that our soul really, it's very soul satisfying, right? This kind of work. So we are looking at curating lots of retreats, lots of going on, a lot of fun.
Yes.
Lot of things that we are doing together for women and men.
Yeah.
We will do at least 2 workshops for men, guys who are hearing. And definitely my social work on ground, that needs a lot of work as well, especially for girl, child, women, in other sectors as well. And of course, my podcast, version 2.0, thanks for reintroducing it from now. So this is going to be another powerful tool to bring in stories, and we are going to write a book soon.
Amen to that. I've just been looped in. I had no idea I was going to write a book, but well, we will be writing a book very soon. So Archana, on the first year anniversary podcast, I wish you all the very best. I hope you continue to talk to women, to girls, to youth, to LGBTQ, to anybody and everybody from India to international, wherever. I hope you continue to touch lives the way you do, because I know that you do it very, very beautifully. And I know you push them, and I hope you continue to do that. Here is wishing you a very happy second act and third, fourth, fifth, whatever it translates into. And I hope this goes from places to places.
Thank you, Sarika. And thank you, people who have been hearing our podcast. It is something that started like a regular stuff, but so much has come out in this 1 year, and it will be better from here in version 2.0. So keep hearing, keep listening, keep growing, keep discovering your second act.
Thank you.